My name is Lizzie, and I'm 15 years old. At first glance, I'm a completely ordinary girl. I'm studying in high school, and I, like everyone else, have friends and enemies. But my parents, they're afraid of me. It's like they want to get rid of me, just like they got rid of my sister. It all started with an incident. There was a boy, Tim, in my class who I always hated. He was a freak, a jerk, a nerd, and our chemistry teacher's pet. Tim and I did not get along, but the teachers decided to reconcile us. She gave us a group project meant for two, and I had a eureka moment. Imagine, not clever Tim, but me. We made the project according to my fantastic idea, but all the merit and praise didn't go to me, but to Tim. He had told the teacher that the project was his idea and that I didn't even take part in it. She believed her favourite, and I was slapped with an E. Naturally, I prepared my revenge. I had a present for Tim, a beautiful box, which, when opened, exploded the opener with paint. The plan was this: I would put the surprise in his locker. He would open the box, and voila, his face covered in paint. I would catch the whole thing on video and upload for everyone to see. But whilst I was preparing to put his present in his locker, somebody spoke to me. "Don't do it," an unfamiliar voice whispered. I stopped, hesitating. The voice continued. "He's so handsome. You loved him." But there was no one around. I suddenly realized the voice was speaking from inside my head. It only got worse. Tim appeared around the corner and the voice gave me an order. "Go and kiss him. Straight away." My mind seemed not my own anymore, and I fell into a weird kind of trance. My body moved against my wishes, and I kissed Tim. Oh my God, in front of the whole school. He pushed me away and called me nuts. I ran away in tears, but my surprises didn't end there. I went into a classroom trying not to attract attention, although it was hard not to. There was a lesson going, math. Mrs. Sandy was teaching, and she, unlike other teachers, liked me. But then the voice spoke again. "Go and give Mrs. Sandy Tim's present." I resisted as hard as I could. Has this ever happened to you? When you don't want to do something, but for inexplicable reasons do. I couldn't control myself. The last thing I remember was an explosion of paint that covered the teacher's face. It was a disaster. I was sent to the principal, and from there, the school psychologist was called. In anticipation of the psychologist, I carefully examined the principal's office. Are people who examine other people's minds sound themselves? Could I trust our school psychologist? Should I tell him about the voice in my head? Whilst I was thinking these thoughts, I noticed that a pencil was slipping from my fingers. Nearby lay a perforated family photo of our psychologist. He was shocked at what I had done to the picture, but talked to me about what had happened. I didn't mention the voice, and the psychologist reasoned that everything that had happened was due to a nervous breakdown stemming from my poor assignment score. My parents were called to school, and they gave me a thrashing once I got home, but I was silent about the strange state of mind that I had had. I hoped that everything would pass, but I hoped in vain. At night, the voice returned. I woke up in a flower bed under the window of my room. I had cut all my mother's favourite roses to their root. I screamed in pain. My hands were bleeding from the thorns, but that wasn't all. Inside the living room, I had smeared paint all over the sofa and ripped my dad's important paperwork to shreds. My mum went to the psychologist with me in the morning and accused me of doing everything out of spite. I couldn't stand it anymore. I screamed that it hadn't been me, that there was a girl living in my head, and suddenly my mum burst into tears. She told me a secret that my parents had hid from me from birth. A girl really did live inside me. I had been born with two heads. The second one hadn't developed and belonged to my would-have-been Siamese twin, but was now merely a parasite. This underhead had the makings of a brain and even some kind of consciousness, but had been completely unviable. Most importantly, it was now threatening my life. The doctors performed an operation and removed the physical elements of my parasite sister, but as it turned out, this was not the end. At the hospital, my parents were warned that psychological problems could arise. My Siamese twin may influence my mind even after its physical removal. I began working with a psychologist and I had some success. It seemed like the voice rarely spoke up and didn't particularly disturb me. Only when I was particularly stressed did I feel an intense urge to do something. One night, however, after an argument over something stupid, I had gone to bed only to open my eyes and heard my mother cry out. I was stood over my parents' bed, not understanding how I ended up there. My mum and dad stood across from me on the other side of the bed, scared. In my hands was an empty pot. I had tried to pour boiling water on my parents. My mum had woken up seconds before and managed to roll her and my father out the way. And all because of a quarrel that had happened that evening. My parents told me the next day that for my safety they would place metal bars on my windows and soon began to lock my bedroom at night. It enraged me terribly. They were treating me like I was crazy, but I was fine. I was normal. am an ordinary girl. Nevertheless, their steps turned out to be futile. One night, the voice came back. I woke to my parents shaking me in a panic. There was fire all around. Everything was burning, and in my hands was a gasoline tank. Only my dad, dreaming about fire and waking up, saved us from death. Now I understood what the voice was seeking: revenge. My parents had gotten rid of my sister, so she had taken their home too. I knew she was happy that the score was even. I stopped hearing the voice after the fire, but my mum doesn't believe me. She and dad sent me for treatment in a psychiatric hospital, and it's awful here. I feel really bad all the time. They gave me these pills and the doctors just irritate me. But I'm completely normal. It seems to me that my parents just want me to not exist, just like my sister. What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments below. I think that the voice is gone. I'm cured. Only it's weird. But I think that maybe I do love that dweeb Tim. Tell us what you think about this video. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content.